Honorable Prime Minister of the Republic of Vanuatu, congratulations again, and thank you for this time. Let's begin with the earthquake. You weren't in our office at the time, but now that you're the Prime Minister, are you satisfied with the efforts since the December earthquake?
Not really. I think the government was very slow in responding, and there are some factors that contributed to the slowness of the government to fully enforce the recovery. We were at the time when everybody was gearing up for the snap election, and most of the members of parliament, and it was a caretaker government, and so they were not really or the government wasn't really able to fast track on the process in ensuring that timely recovery, the rollout plan and everything. That's why I said that I wasn't really satisfied, and there are reasons as to why it did not go the way expected by the some of the major issues was the area to do with the allowing the owners of the building that they were destroyed to fully demolish the building. Unfortunately, most of those owners, they had insurance problem, and as soon as the government was elected, then we decided to offer a way out in assisting not only opening the main CBD, but also the government had indicated the financial support towards ensuring that we open the main CBD.
People we spoke to describe the national mood as being broken and lost and repeating the same cycle. Does your new government feel the same?
Well, let's put it this way. I mean, we're dealing with a disaster that it's the first time as a country that we have actually gone through. We were not prepared the standard operating procedures to handle the cyclone. That we know, and we know how to fast track the process or even be able to address the issue. When it comes to the earthquake, it was a totally new way, although it's within the same context of the natural disaster, but the magnitude, the operation, but it was at the wrong time because everybody was just getting up towards the snap election. But I think now that the government is established and the government is on top of every issues, and I have already made announcement with the Deputy Prime Minister on the outcome of the Council of Ministers' decision. So I think it's gaining back the confidence within the private sector.
Your government has released a 100-day plan. What firm commitments in the plan will help people still impacted by the earthquake?
There's already an allocations of almost about 200 million package that the government has already offered for specific areas for demolition, and also subsidy for the businesses that have been affected, especially to support the locals in Vanuatu that they work and they enjoy or receive salary. So it's a wages subsidy, and also for the education sector. So we are focusing on that. There's a previous council decision to also consider the places like outside of Port Vila, and I've been to Sando, and I had some discussions with the private sector, and would like to expand that. And as of today, the council in its meeting specifically requests the Ministry of Trade to bring in the businesses that have been affected in the islands, and so that we can find a way to not only to help them, but also provide the financial support in terms of the subsidy to help them. Given the fact that when the government had taken this approach to liquidate the Vanuatu, and most of the companies that are tourism oriented have been affected, and the government is responsible of finding the ways through subsidy to help them.
So what are the government's plan to reopen the CPT?
Well, we are progressing really well, and there's probably one or two more buildings, a major one for us to undertake. But I've told the private sector that the sooner the better. They are proposing June. I said no, I want it open now. And that's why the government is very supportive on ensuring that we have to open the CBD.
Is there any plans on relocating some businesses from the main CPT, or is the government have plans to relocate the CPT to another location?
We are looking at every options that are available. Given the magnitude of the damage, maybe we could turn the whole CBT into a tourism kind of a business, and focusing on putting the other main infrastructures in other places. And we're looking at, the government is looking at acquiring land to facilitate diversifications of different business sector, and even to allow those who are keen to start a business in some parts of the area where the government is prepared to acquire the land to accommodate this.
How does the government plan to rectify the landslide at the wharf area?
Well, it's difficult, and we don't have the expertise. We don't have the tools to address that, and we are relying on the outside expertise. At this point in time, it's difficult to give you an accurate answer, but we will look into that.
Are we in an economic crisis?
Not really. According to the briefing that the Deputy Prime Minister, with the budget submissions and also the assurance that in terms of the economy, we're well off in terms of the GPDI. And if I can recall correctly, that we have seen a decline in the revenue collection, but the government is very confident and is very supportive of ensuring that there are measures taken not only to cut but also to grow its economy.
What are some of those measures that you mentioned that will help stimulate the economy of Vanuatu?
Well, we are looking, for instance, these are very tiny and small measures, but we have to start small. We're looking at Ministry of the Fisheries. It's a new ministry that the government has established. The potential in the marine sector is huge. And when I was the Deputy Prime Minister, we discovered that the government is actually losing out on almost about 4 billion fatu through some arrangements that the previous governments had since 2022. And we are looking at recovering that through the tuna, the quota that the country has signed with the regional bodies that are looking after different quotas within the marine sector. So that's just an example. Cutting cost, government is also looking at vehicle fleet. We want to cut down on that to save cost. And also one of the incentives that the government is also looking at is to cut down on the public holidays, so that the private sector, it's a long time cry and complaint from them. So we are now negotiating and discussing with the private sector how could we address this issue.
Does your government plan to have and ensure that there is better preparation, better response during disaster, and we have funds allocated to address recovery and disasters?
Yes, it's an ongoing issue. As we go along, we are prepared to rectify and amend even the legislations to accommodate the ongoing disaster that we're experiencing. And one in particular is the earthquake. We have a new legislation, the Disaster Recovery Act, and it's a new legislation, and we are still trying to explore on how to apply specific requirements under this act to ensure fast delivery, especially after a disaster.
Some engineers that we spoke to spoke of the several Chinese-led building projects that have not adhered to the Vanuatu's building code. Does your government plan to ensure that there is strict process in the way that people build, especially 8 grant projects in Vanuatu? And is there any plans that your new government have to ensure that every buildings, whether it's 8 or grant, it has to ensure to follow the building code?
Yes, it's not just a process, but it requires totally new prime legislations to govern the constructions of the building. So the government is looking at introducing the building code and also the drainage code. It's already drafted, and we're hoping that not this sitting of Parliament, but the next sitting of Parliament, it will go through the process of having it enacted.
Do we have some of the buildings that were damaged during the cyclone loan project from China?
Yes, the Prime Minister's office, but according to the assessment done by the experts, the engineers, the wall is okay, but except the structure is okay, but except for the wall. So it's still safe, but they need to repair so that it could be used.
So the government is going to pay for the repair of those buildings?
No, the Chinese government had offered to step in by providing additional support of 300 million baht to cover for the repair. One of the things that we also discover, especially bigger projects, is an absence of liability period, and we are ensuring that, or the government is ensuring that proper policies should cover for the liability, and also we are exploring different options of ensuring the government asset.
So at the moment they do have insurance?
No.
So does that include the building at the finance office building?
No, there's no insurance covered for that, and even the liability.
So the finance building is also a loan or is a grant?
It's a grant.
Okay. So now that you're in government, it's not a month yet, what will you do differently?
Well, you can already see, look at the 100-day plan, and we are determined to deliver on time. There's quite a number of issues that we believe that we are able to address, and some of the things that you are mentioning, the building code to address that, and looking at doing business more effectively within the public sector. We have allowed through the instructions that was released by the Public Service Commission, is to help the private sector by allowing the civil servants to work during lunch hour, but they still have to man the office, even they can still go for lunch.
One final question. You single out better relations with the U.S. when you took office, given the U.S. withdrawal from the Paris Agreement and Trump's administration's cutting foreign aid, and how do you hope to bring out the two countries together?
Well, first of all, we don't have any preference we are not here to favor anybody. We are friends to all and enemies to none. Why we single out US? Vanuatu is very focal on the issues on climate change. ICJ, you know that we're very focal on that. It's still ongoing, and but one of the things is we're trying to get the Donald administration to know that moving away from the Paris Agreement is a suicide for us. So it's just a strategy that we are trying to get them to understand that it's about our survival. There is no planet B, and that's the message that we have to let everybody know.
Australia is very worried about the China presence in the Pacific. Is your government going to strengthen that relationship with China, or, like you said, no friends, no enemies?
As I've said, we are open. I mean, we are a sovereign country, and we are prepared to dialogue with any countries in the world, friends to all and enemies to none, and we prefer to maintain that kind of an open door policy.
Thank you. Thank you, Bikwan.